For over 2,000 years, one book has stood as the ultimate guide to strategy, leadership, and the art of war. The Art of War by Sun Tzu. It's not just for generals. Its wisdom has inspired emperors, entrepreneurs, and modern leaders alike. Here at China Tales, we bring that wisdom to life, not with lectures, but through timeless legends from ancient China. This is Stories of Strategy, learning Sun Tzu through legends. Let the journey begin. In the year 1363, China was ravaged by war. The Yuan dynasty was crumbling. Rebel forces rose across the land. Among them, two powers stood out: Chen Youliang, the self-proclaimed King of Han, who dominated the central Yangtze, and Zhu Yuanzhang, an emerging force from the south. To seize control of the Yangtze River, they clashed at Lake Poyang, China's largest freshwater lake. This would not be just a battle for territory. It would decide the fate of the empire. It was autumn, the dry season. The lakebed receded, revealing mudflats and watergrass. Chen led a massive fleet into the lake, claiming 600,000 strong, with 400,000 actual troops. His tower ships covered the lake. His main fleet was chained together, row upon row. War drums thundered, flags blanketed the sky. The momentum was overwhelming. Zhu, by contrast, had only 30,000 water troops, mostly peasant soldiers with worn-out ships and scarce supplies. The difference was staggering. Many believed the outcome was already decided. Faced with overwhelming disadvantage, Zhu Yuanzhang chose not to confront strength with strength. Instead, he turned to the land, the water, and the wind. Late at night, he gathered his generals. They pored over the maps, and a plan was born: seal the lake. Over several nights, sunken boats, chains, logs, and stones were laid across the lake's mouth, forming an invisible barrier. Fast boats patrolled the area to maintain secrecy. To the naked eye, the water remained calm, but the trap was already set. Chen's fleet had long entered the lake. Completely unaware their way back was blocked, his officers urged him to attack quickly. Commander Zhang Dingbian offered a new tactic.
The enemy is weak, but cunning. Chain our ships together, form a solid battle array.
Chen agreed. The entire fleet was ordered to link by iron chains. The main command ship stood at the center with wings wrapped around, a floating fortress. From a distance, it looked invincible. But such a formation, once locked, had little room to maneuver. By day, the lake was quiet. Then came the northeast wind. Waves stirred. Zhu Yuanzhang saw the moment. As his commanders hesitated, General Liao Yongzhong stepped forward.
Strike now, use fire, let the wind finish the job.
Zhu nodded. 7 old ships were converted into fireboats, filled with dry wood, sulfur, and oil. Their bows were fitted with iron rams. Fuses were lit at the stern. Each was manned by volunteers ready to die. The fireboats launched with the wind, fast and fierce, heading straight for the heart of the enemy fleet. At first, Chen's troops thought they were just scouts. By the time they realized it was fire attack, the flames had already begun. Because the ships were chained together, the fire spread uncontrollably. 1 boat burned, then 10, then all. Smoke blanketed the sky. Sails burst into flames. Soldiers leapt into the lake. Commands failed. Chaos reigned. The chains held fast. The formation couldn't break apart. There was no escape. As night fell, the flames still roared. Zhu launched a second strike, not of force, but of illusion. Troops marched torches around the lake. They beat drums, shouted orders. The hills lit up with 1,000 lights. Inside Chen's camp, panic spread.
Reinforcements have arrived. We're surrounded. Retreat is impossible.
Rumors raged through the night. Morale collapsed. Fear devoured them before a single blade returned. Before dawn, Zhu Yuanzhang launched his final attack. He divided his forces into 3. 1 force pierced through the burning wreckage. 1 circled the western shore, using exposed lake beds. 1 advanced directly, targeting the remaining unburned vessels and the command fleet. By now, Chen's navy was shattered. Many ships were broken. Orders were lost. The once mighty wall of warships was nothing but smoke and wreckage. Chen Youliang, still defiant, stood atop his command ship, rallying the last of his men. Suddenly, an arrow. It pierced his chest. He fell into the lake, never to surface again. With the commander dead, the army broke. Some burned their ships, some drowned. Others dropped their weapons and surrendered. The floating fortress had become a floating grave. Zhu Yuanzhang stood quietly at the bow, watching the smoke rise above the water. A war that began as hopeless had changed the course of history. The Battle of Poyang Lake was not won by numbers, but by turning illusion into advantage and reality into traps. Sun Tzu said,
"Entice the enemy to approach with benefits. Prevent him from approaching by creating danger."
Chen entered the lake confidently. Zhu blocked his retreat. What looked like an advantage became a death trap. Sun Tzu said,
"Appear where he must hasten to defend, move to where he does not expect."
Zhu did not attack head-on. He waited for the wind, used fire, not blade, and struck at the enemy's weakest point. Sun Tzu said,
"Shape the enemy while remaining formless. Thus, you remain concentrated while he is divided."
Chen's warships were massive, rigid, and exposed. Zhu's forces moved freely, their form unseen. The enemy saw fire, but not the hand that lit it. Sun Tzu said,
"The shape of military force is like water. It avoids the high and rushes to the low. So too must force avoid the strong and strike the weak."
Chen's grand fleet was trapped in deep water. Zhu's small boats skimmed the shallows. They flowed where the giants could not turn. Sun Tzu said,
"Water shapes its flow by the terrain. Victory is gained by adapting to the enemy."
Zhu adjusted with the land, the lake, the wind, and the panic. No fixed formation, only movement in response. Sun Tzu said,
"Invisible and inaudible such is the general who becomes master of the enemy's fate."
Zhu lit torches around the lake. No troops came, only fear. The enemy collapsed not by force, but by illusion. Sun Tzu said,
"There is no constant shape in war, just as there is no constant flow in water."
Chen used one method and was trapped. Zhu adapted each step and broke through. Victory came not from strength, but from change. Fire and wind, illusion and force, stillness and movement. This was not just a battle. It was chapter 6 of Sun Tzu's Art of War, brought to life.